1075 The Game Podcasting is sponsored by Modern Exterminating, a family-oriented company. Professional, honest, and dependable pest control solutions. We're your one-stop shop for all pests.
If you were to narrow it down to the 4 best coaching hires, Dawn Staley obviously has to be on that list.
Yep.
Ray Tanner obviously has to be on that list. I'll venture to say, because I've seen the history, Steve Spurrier has to be on that list. And then the 4th, who would we throw on there? And I got it. Some people might throw the former equestrian coach, who was so good. That was a really good hire.
Sure.
Earlier on in time, Curtis Fry for the track team, winning in a championship would certainly be a great hire. But I'm trying to think if there's a 4th that I would even start to throw on that list.
In the category of those 3, probably not, at least based on what we know about those coaches right now. Again, that 4th coach could be a current coach at this moment. That, again, the story's not, the book's not done being written on what they're going to do here at Carolina.
Shane Beamer's not going to be fired with a bad year this year.
No.
He's earned that equity.
Yeah, he could have a 2-10 season like Florida State had last year. Wouldn't be fun, obviously, but yeah, I'd still say he's definitely still your coach in 2026.
However, and we talked about this yesterday, there is some pressure on Shane Beamer. That window with a quarterback that may not be here next year, really, honestly, we've all learned a roster that may not be here. You don't know what's going to happen in an offseason where teams can just come in and gut your roster. You got to get Dylan Stewart to recommit.
You do.
Next year. Fred Johnson, who they're talking about at linebacker, to maybe step up and be a big part. You got to get him to recommit. You got to get Judge Collier. I think Collier actually may have not out of eligibility, but I think would be his 3rd year out of high. I could be wrong on that.
He'd be a 3rd year out, so if he was good enough, he could go pro if he wanted to.
Same with Jalen Kilgore.
Yeah.
So my point is your roster now is entirely built year to year.
Sure.
And with that being said, you lost some defensive pieces. This is still a roster that could get you to 9 or 10 victories, and you've got to capitalize on that.
And you've put a lot of resources towards making this roster what it is. And yes, there's a lot of guys that haven't necessarily proven themselves at the college level, but we have high expectations for Gabriel Brownlow-Dinley coming in from A&M as a former 5-star and kind of being one of the anchors on the interior of the defensive line. So again, you don't have the known talent that you had. And even last year, we didn't have known talent necessarily with guys like Kennard and Demetrius Knight. They were good players at their prior stops at Charlotte and Georgia Tech, but we didn't see them having what the kind of seasons they would have and go on to be drafted in the way that they were. So your kind of hope is that you're going to be able to do the same thing with a lot of these guys that we don't know a lot about going into this season, and again, kind of become that school where it's like, okay, no matter who leaves, you're just going to replace them with good caliber talent and keep the train rolling. But again, everybody has a window.